Hi guys, ladies, I'm Svetlana and I will be conducting today's webinar. Before we start the webinar itself, could you please help me to test the sound and the presentation? If you can hear me, please write +1 into the chat window, chat or questions window. You should have it somewhere on your panel. +1. That's good. It means I'm not alone here. And if you can see the first slide of presentation with a picture with people taking certificates, and it is written how to make effective meetings in large teams, please write +2 to make sure that you see the presentation as well. Because sometimes you can hear me, but there is some problems with presentation showing, but not today. Today you can hear me and you can see the presentation, and that is great. If you have any troubles during the webinar, either with presentation or with the sound, write to me and I will try to do something. At least I will try to plug out and plug in again my GoToWebinar platform or my notebook. So anyway, the recording will be available. Usually there is no problems with the recording. Sometimes it happens, 1 per 20, 30 webinars, we can have problems with the recording of the webinar, but since you're present here, you will get all the information online in interactive mode. But after the webinar, during a couple of days, I'm usually sharing presentation and sharing recording of the webinar, both in GoToWebinar pages and in Luxoft Agile practice pages, and also on my own page on SlideShare, on YouTube, on Facebook. So everybody got the recording of the webinar and the presentation as well. If you have any questions during the webinar, please write it to me. If the question is quite short to answer, I will be able to provide you the answer right away. If not, then probably I can write to you in email, or you can add this question to Luxoft Agile event page where this webinar is written, and ask this question in Luxoft Agile Facebook page or again in email. I will try to answer it. Some people asking, am I alone here? I don't think so. There are 40 people now online and there are more than 300 registration, I think. So we will not be alone here. Alexander, if you can hear me, you are not alone, but probably you don't see chat window because it is should be moderated to such quantity of people, and I don't have time for moderation. That is why only me now see the chat window and questions window. Okay, so it was mostly all about organization issues. If there are any problems, again, with the sound, with the presentation, with connection, write to me. If it is a global problem, I will be able to do something. If it is your local problem, if you're one of 100 people who's writing to me about it, probably it's on your side and I will not be able to do anything. So our webinar today will be about how to make meetings, trainings, some events effective for large groups of people. For me, a large group of people, it starts from 20+ people. Maybe it webinar will be also useful for those who have teams between 10 and 20 people. Maybe some tips will work for you as well. But if you have teams for below 10 people, probably it will be a waste of time for you to present on this webinar. 10 teams below 10 people is not large groups of people. Large group is like, for me, is like the one presented on the photo you see now. So a few words about myself. I made this very unofficial collage about my life. So apart from doing and being agile, I also do and involve in different other activities. I do singing classes, I enjoy swimming, I also enjoy dances and horse riding. I have a husband, I have 3 cats, I have some friends with whom I like to go to Starbucks, and I like traveling also a lot, and I have lots of business trips. That is probably one of the reasons why this webinar was moved hither and thither several times, because I put this webinar on some date, and then I am asked to go to some business trip for commercial projects. That is why I need to cancel the webinar and to move it to another date. This week I'm in Kyiv. We have very pleasant weather and I'm not going anywhere, so I decided to make this webinar better this day, better in June, because July is mostly fully booked with business trips. I need to move it on August then, and in August it will be the same situation, I think. So that is why we're making this webinar today, and I'm really sorry if for those who were not able to take part in this webinar, but they will get the recording of the webinar. So we're starting. First of all, if you are suddenly asked to make some event for the large group of people and you don't know anything about facilitation, you are usually, for instance, making your meetings with 5, 6, 7 people, like ordinary Scrum team. You're usually used to these small groups of people, and your management or your organization or someone asks you to, please, could you make a retrospective of 50 people? Can you make some training for 50 people? Can you organize it somehow? And you have like 2 days for preparation, or maybe no day. You need to do it like tomorrow, some town hall for a huge number of people, and it shouldn't be like lecture. You need to gather some information from these people, and you need to analyze this information together with your group. So you need to do all the exercises that you're doing in your small group, for instance, retrospective, right, with a large number of people. Try to think about these people as subgroups, and my advice to you, perceive each subgroup as one separate individual. So organize your exercises for subgroups. Maybe it sounds to you very simple, but it's something that you can do right away without knowing anything about facilitation. So organize your people in 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Again, each group will contain 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and provide the exercises. Ask these groups, for instance, to generate improvements for your project. And you will be taking the improvements from each group, not from each individual, because it will be very hard for you to get the improvements for each out of 50 individuals. Even taking these improvements, going through this all individuals will take all your time. And you need usually to save time, because people are busy. People have different activities. They can't present on the meeting for 3, 4, 6, 7 hours. So maybe you will have just 2 hours for this retrospective. So perceive your groups as individuals. It's very, very simple advice. One more note here. From my experience, when you have groups which contain more than 5 individuals, usually the 6 or 7 person becomes not involved. So usually I prefer to have groups of 4. In such a way, everybody is working on the exercise, everybody is doing something that you ask them to do. But if you have 5, 6 people, usually this 6 or 7 person, or even the person of number 5, is trying to be involved in something else. Not in the training exercises, not in the retrospective, in our case, exercises. So try to keep your groups small of 4, 5 people. So that's, I think, mostly all about like very simple advice, how to deal with large groups. Just make subgroups. You can ask people to gather based on their experience to these subgroups. You can ask them to gather based on their working teams, or even group them based on the colors of their clothes, if you would like to mix them, everybody up with one another. Again, if you have questions about the slides or about the information that I'm providing, you can write your questions. We're going to the next technique, something that you can use right away. So it's not like philosophical or theoretical stuff. So it's quite practical, and it is called questions backlog. When you have a big group of people, and you need to gather the questions from them. I very often conduct Scrum trainings, Agile trainings, or Kanban trainings, and I know that people coming to these trainings from for different purposes. Sometimes management asks them to go there, sometimes it is their own decision. So, and I need to understand what is the group in front of me, who are these people, what questions they have, because then I will need to address these questions during the training. That is why I'm asking a group of people to create questions backlog. How we are doing it? Either I'm asking people, if there are 20 people, for instance, I'm asking them individually to write down on stickers their questions. One question per one sticker. So I think it's quite simple. If there are more than 20 people, if there are around 50 people, or there are 60, 70 people, again, I'm separating them by groups and asking each group, for instance, to provide me 3-4 questions from the group that they have for this particular event, what they came here for. Then I'm asking them to put it on a flip chart that is called questions backlog, QA backlog, in to-do section. So there are 3 sections: to do, in progress, and done. Probably it is similar to Kanban board, maybe, but it is organized in a bit different way. So to do, in progress, done. People are putting questions in to do, and from time to time I'm asking the group, or again representatives from each subgroup, to make sorting and prioritization of this backlog. You can see on these stickers on the photo that there are dots here. So we're using dot voting. You can Google about this technique for prioritization. I'm showing the team how to do it, and then they do it by themselves. And I'm asking, please bring me just 1 or 2 questions for the next 15 minutes to answer. If this event is not about the question answering, but about some topic, for instance, we need to discuss how to use story points on the projects, or in general, how to use Scrum framework, what are the benefits, what are the disadvantages of it. Okay, write down your questions. I will be providing you my information that I have an agenda, and from time to time we have slots, separate time for questions answering sessions. But I can't again answer individually to each of 20 or 50 people. That is why I'm asking them to make the prioritization by themselves and bring me the questions I'm answering. When I think I answer the question, or when the time box is finished for the questions and answers, I'm giving back the sticker with questions and answers to the people who bring it to me, and they can put it into any other section. They can put it back to do, they can put it in progress, they can put it in done. So this is the way how I deal with questions, because I noticed when I'm starting to answer particular individual questions, I'm spending lots of time on it, first of all, and secondly, half of the group is not involved, because not everybody is interested in the question of a particular person, case that they have on the project. Or, for instance, they don't have good product owner on the project, or their product owner has been changed. They have some issue about it. They have some conflicts maybe. Not everybody is interested in it. But when we're gathering the whole list of questions from the group, and when we ask the group to work on these questions all together, their questions somehow becomes their own. That is the trick here. So they probably be more involved. So whenever you have large group and you have big number of questions, and you will not be able to answer all of these questions, just again ask the group to make prioritization of these questions and to bring to you the questions that are interested to most of them. We are going further. We are going further to the technique that I can't say that I use it a lot. It is called fishbowl. It is the bowl where there is fishes inside. In our case, there are people inside this bowl. When, for instance, some people start discussing a topic that is not of a very big interest to anybody else in the room, just 3-4 people start discussing, for instance, the non-readiness of requirements, or that they don't need daily Scrum events, or anything else, for instance, they don't want to use story points for estimation, or they would like to use story points for estimations. They don't want to use man hours for estimation. So there is a small group of people within a large group of people who would like to discuss some topic. And maybe you have 10 minutes for this discussion, but you don't want to let anybody else go away for coffee, for smoking, for anything else, because otherwise then you will not be able to bring these people back to the room. So for instance, there is some topic on retrospective, like improvements of our definition of ready or definition of done document, and not everybody is interested in it. It can happen. So legalize, make it legal that someone of these team members became passive. They're already passive. They're already looking into their mobiles or whispering with neighbors. And some people ask them to come inside the circle of a large group of people. Again, you should have the proper environment, because if you have one big table into your room, and the space on the outside the table, this technique will not work for you. So you need to have some large room, people sitting. You're asking to make two circles, one external circle, sorry, there is Russian here, and I haven't changed it to English. What is written here? So on external circle, there are people, observers. We're calling them observers. They can see, they can hear, they can like raise the hand, but usually I prefer not to raise the hand. But if these people have something to contribute into the internal circle where the people can speak, the person from external circle is going by her legs to the internal circle, standing near the participants and waiting till someone would like to go away to external circle, and in such way make some place in the internal circle available for the person from external circle. So we are like making a special place for discussion inside one circle. We are grouping people. The people who would like to be passive will still stay passive outside, and the people who would like to speak going inside. So inside is a very privileged actually place where people can speak. If you're sitting outside, you cannot speak. If you have anything to contribute, no one problem. You decided first to stay passive in these discussions. So you, in order to become active, you need to go into the circle. Usually when you're sitting into the circle, there is a high pressure because there are a number of people who is watching you. You're like on the stage. And everybody is seeing you, and everybody is listening to what you are speaking about. So it's not like something that you're crying out on some, that you're crying from the crowd. It is you become very much visible, and in such a way, some active people who are actively for something or against something become more calm down, because they are already getting lots of attention. So from time to time, I'm using this technique. It takes like 20 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, depending on the number of people. Usually it's good for some conflict situations. For conflict situations between several members, when anybody else is not interested in this conflict. But when the several people start being listened, start speaking, maybe someone else from external circle, usually we have the situation in most cases, someone from external circle would like to join the internal circle, come to this internal circle, and someone can provide available a seat for this person. Because when you are spoken already everything you wish to speak to the people, probably you would like now to sit down and to listen them. So it's a technique called fishbowl. The other technique that is called World Cafe, or it is also called home and away. It is very well-known technique, quite famous technique. It is used on different trainings. It can be used for knowledge sharing very well. It can be used for, if you would like the group share between them, the group individuals share between themselves their understanding of some topic. For instance, again, I'm making Scrum training, or you have some good practices within your projects. Some teams already have definition of done documents. Some documents are not very good, but some you think are quite well, so you would like the teams to make knowledge sharing between one another. or you would like to them share some information about your project. For instance, you are working in a huge program of 50, 60, 80 people, and you would like there is knowledge sharing between your program members, not only between project members. So you, first of all, you can either do this technique, exploit the system to itself before World Cafe. You can again Google it, but the main focus here is World Cafe technique. So you're asking people to make some stations to group into by the teams, by their teams or by their projects, to group near some stations. What I mean by station is a flip chart, or some piece of paper lying on the table, and to put on it all information they have. For instance, they have some processes that they call Scrum processes. So please write down what you usually do on your project. What is Scrum for you? Or for instance, you can put here advantages and disadvantages of your current processes. It can be Scrum, it can be anything, it can be Kanban. If you're using XP, it can be about XP. Or you put down on a flip chart the information that now is available for your team about the project content, what this project is about, or what difficulties we have on this project. Again, enumerate it, what solutions we have. Every team is doing this. Every team is doing this, for instance, for 10-15 minutes. After this, you are asking each team member to think about whether she or he would like to present this information to the rest of the audience. Or the team can choose a person who can make a presentation. This person can be called like a presenter or a host. A host who is welcome all the rest, who is presenting the information on the flip chart. After this, the rest of the team, apart from this presenter, apart from this host, is going to another team. The host is remaining and welcoming the team who came from him or her from another host. So we are changing our stations, but a person from the team remains on the station and providing the knowledge of the group who left this station to the new audience. We are making, if you have, for instance, 10 groups, I'm usually making 4 or 5 rounds. So there is no need that every group came to every presenter. After 4 or 5 rounds, everybody becomes on the one stage, on the one page. They get one and the same level of information. For instance, in such a way, I can make like alignment of the group in their knowledge. Then they have a huge group of people who understands some topic. It can be Scrum, or it can be content of our project. It can be some business requirements, purpose, mission of our company. It can be also. Their understanding becomes similar. It can be wrong understanding. It can be right understanding. But now I have more or less homogeneous group. Let's say it this way. So their understanding is similar to one another, and in such a way I can start providing the information that is missing, or correcting the incorrect understanding. But now I know exactly what is incorrect. I can also go through these flip charts and see what they're writing, what they're drawing here. It also can make me to understand which group of people, which team I see in front of me, and what they have in their heads. Because asking each of them, what is your level of understanding of Scrum? What do you think Scrum is about? 50 people, so we will spend like several days only making this like similar field of knowledge for ourselves. So World Cafe works perfectly well to align people in understanding of something. The next technique that can be also used very well for knowledge sharing. For knowledge sharing between team members. If again in your program, in your project, there are some groups that already successfully solved some problems. For instance, they have very good retrospectives, or some of them meet the requirements from the clients perfectly well, or some of them usually meet the estimations that they have provided. So they're very good at planning. So you have different groups who more or less successful in different aspects of the processes within your whole organization, within your whole program. In such a way, you would like people share their solutions and probably also share their problems, because one team is effective in doing retrospective. The other team have huge problems with making retrospectives. They're usually skipping actually retrospective. They don't want to have these retrospectives. So you would like this team somehow talk to one another to get knowledge sharing. And you don't want it came from you as a trainer, as a manager, as a Scrum Master. You would like the teams sees how their colleagues are working, are solving the problems. Again, you can ask, I told this technique talent market. I don't know how to call it, because I think I just invented it from my experience. When I need the people start talking to one another, start sharing their experience. So I ask teams or individuals, if there are individuals who have problems in working within Scrum framework, within their projects, to write down on a paper or on a stickers their problems and their solutions. So they have, for instance, they have problems with stand-ups. So they're writing with red marker, like stand-ups. I have problems with stand-ups. I don't think it's quite effective. It's just waste of time. We're standing here like for 15 minutes. We're talking nonsense. So I'm writing with red sticker. So you need somehow to separate the solutions from the problem. So I'm using just the colors. You're writing with your red marker or on a red sticker the problem, stand-ups. But we perfectly well doing planning. We're not spending like 8 hours or 6 hours on planning. We're spending on 1 month's sprint 2 hours of our planning. We're doing it perfectly well. We usually meet in our estimates. We're usually providing all the required scope. So, and I'm writing in green, for instance, planning. I know how to do planning very well. And I have this, I personally, or my group who would like to share this information. I'm writing in red stand-ups, and I'm writing in green planning. All the rest is doing the same. After this, someone needs to stand with these stickers or with these pieces of paper and answer the questions. Again, you can make it pair by pair, and everybody start working around the room and looking for the pair. For instance, I need a person who knows how to do plannings, either in Agile, in Waterfall, in anything. So you need to define the topic, the general topic of your discussion. And I'm looking for the person who has planning written in green. When I found this person, I'm asking, hey, I have problems with planning. We're usually out of time. We're spending like 4-6 hours for our planning. We can do nothing. We can't understand the requirements. Tell me a few words how you do usually. And then I'm just shutting down and listening what the person would like to tell to me. So it's like knowledge sharing within the group. You definitely, as a manager, as a coach, as a Scrum Master, as a product owner, as a technical lead, can do it by yourself. You can share your experience, gather people all together, sit them down and make a lecture. And then 80% of the people will not be interested in it, because you are not letting them to share their own experience, and you are already an authority to them. What I would like to do is that everybody become more authority to anybody else. In such a way, we increase actually involvement, we increase respect to other people's experience within a particular group, within a particular project or particular program. So again, facilitation is not about like silver bullet, is not about manipulation, is not about making people to do something you want. It's about using the group potential, and it takes time sometimes. We have a question. How do you deal with socially shy people who don't like to engage with others, people who are fine with listening and writing down, but bad with their people skills? Will this technique still work? Any tips on how to deal with them? Yes, there are some people in group who, for some reason, don't want to talk a lot. In this way, I don't provide them individual exercises. I put these people in pairs with someone else. It can be either active person, it can be passive person. If I have a group of 80, I don't have time like to make these pairs to choose the proper pair to anybody else. But what I can do quickly is, when I see the half of the group is like the shy people, for some reason they don't want to talk, I usually provide exercises to pairs. In pair, when you're sitting right to someone else, it's very easy, it's easier to discuss some solution, either than to imagine it, to invent it yourself, and to present it to a huge number of people, or then to work in a group of 5 or 6 people. So in pair, I'm usually perceiving this one person as my partner, and we somehow try to make the exercise. So again, if you have some very active people or very passive people, make pairs. Maybe not with active and passive, but just pairs. Just make like one person out of 2. It helps. So and for this exercise as well, just don't provide the individual exercise. Just don't ask people individually to write down the improvements for product backlog refinement session. Just make a pair and ask the pair to provide the improvements. We are going further. What to do if team ignores you? If team ignores you as a manager, as a Scrum Master, as a lead, is just an ordinary team member who would like to share some information to the team, or who needs to share some information, for instance, new approach that you are going to use at your work. Again, it can be Scrum, it can be any other process that is requested for you to do. It can be even changes in some architecture of your application. Why people can ignore you? Probably they are completely involved in the previous task that you already asked them to do. In this way, you can ask people, how much time do you need to finish? You're not saying that I will give you 5 minutes, you can do this, or you can again ask people, how much time do you need to finish your previous task? And what I usually have is a clock somewhere visible to all the group. You can put it, you can use online watch. You could put it on presentation so everybody see how much time left, and you can also have some physical clock, physical watch. I'm using tablet, so I put in tablet on the table so everybody see. You can use your laptop, put watch on your laptop, so everybody tracking time. People can also start ignoring you when they would like to sleep. Because you're already speaking for 30 minutes, it's like I'm doing on this webinar. So for me, webinars is not very interactive, not very involving, but some people find it interesting. So, but when I'm making a training to the group, I would like to make my talks no more than 10 minutes. Then I'm usually providing some practical exercise. Then we have discussion or question answering session. In such a way you usually make people more involved in what you are doing. People can start ignore you because they lost focus. They are losing what you are speaking about, why they need it, what is the resulted summary of your speech. So usually in such a way try to structure like your presentation or your exercises by blocks, and start like make separate slides for each exercise, for each informational block. It can help people to stay on the same page where you are. People can also start ignoring you when they're whispering one another. There can be also 100 and more reasons why people are ignoring you, so what you can do about it. First, when I work with large groups, I need them to be able to stop when I'm asking them, because it's very hard to stop once again a group of 50 people just using your voice. It's really, I can't cry at these people with such high voice. I can't be so loud to stop the group of 50 people. especially when I have a training of 2 days. So I'm using a rule of raising hand. I'm asking people, when they see me raising hand, they need first raise their hand, and secondly shut up. So if they see that someone else is still talking, so they're just using their other hand to shut this person up. It can be rude, but I'm joking about it, so usually people understand what I mean. So whenever you see me, when I'm working with this huge number of people, and I'm raising a hand, so you're raising your hand and you're shutting up. So you just stop speaking. In such a way, I can personally make a group of 100 people to stop speaking within 20 seconds. So it's a really good result, because otherwise you need to go to everybody and say, stop, 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 listen to me, here guys, I am. So just raise your hands, and in such a way also be careful with your voice, because you need it to continue to do the training or to continue to do this meeting. Also, you can start speaking quietly. And in this way, I think it sounds like a bit controversial, because people will be hardly able to listen to you if you speak quietly, but in such a way you can make them more attentive to what you are speaking. They can become more interested in what's going on, what she's talking about. Again, you can try this also variant if a rule of raising hand is not working for you. The other way is to use microphones. But some people are afraid of microphones, don't want to use it, thinks that their voice sounded in a strange way. Because when we're speaking to microphone, we hear our voice how it is sounded to other people. When we speak without microphone, we hear our voice how it is going to our ears, through our body, through our muscles, through our bones, so it sounds different. But get used to microphones. It's a good way to, when you have trainings, when you have some retrospective for huge organizations and you need to conduct it for a day or 2 days, just use microphones. It will save your voice. Also, when people ignore you, you can ask them to play some game. For instance, we're speaking about Scrum teams. It's very good to have self-organization in Scrum teams. People start discussing it, especially they're discussing the point that usually management organizing teams. So they become very ignoring to you because they're involved in this discussion. And they say, hey guys, let's play a game that will show you an example how self-organizations work. People usually like playing games. So, and in this way, here you see some people playing this game about self-organization. So some people tell me, okay, grown-up people don't play games, like top management don't play games. So I make a picture of top management of a very big company, by the way, non-IT company. Some people tell me non-IT people are not playing games. So non-IT, top management, grown-up people. So they're playing games as well. Everybody would like to have fun. So you need to become, again, connected with the group who ignoring you. So you're asking them, let's play some game. You're just providing this game to them. And in such a way, you're bringing back the connection between you and your group. And you can go, after this, you can go to some other exercises or lectures. Also, what you can do if groups ignores you, maybe, again, they just tired. You need to make a coffee break. Just say, hey guys, ladies, let's make a coffee break for 15 minutes. From my experience, again, usually people stay focused more or less for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. If you have good ventilation, so 1 hour and a half can work. More, no. Usually I prefer to have like 15 minutes break. When you are speaking yourself, when you are a lecturer, when you're a technical lead who are providing some technical solutions to your team, providing some architectural details, your personality is very involved, as I am in this webinar. So I have some content for you to provide. I know this content perfectly well. I would like to find the right words. So I'm engaged, I'm busy. But you are just doing something else. And I need somehow to involve you. And if you are tired already, no chance. So you need to switch. Switching to another exercise is like resting. So you're actually resting when you are just drinking coffee, talking to colleagues. Again, you can talk to colleagues about the topic of this meeting, but still it will be in another atmosphere. You're going for smoking, for fresh air, which is better. So make a break if you see that the group is not listening to you. But then ask people directly. Don't tell them, okay, let's gather together in 10 minutes or in 15 minutes. Just tell them the exact time. Hey guys, we need to gather at 4 o'clock. So please be back at 4 o'clock. Not just in 10 minutes, because everybody have different understanding of 10 minutes. Also, you can use your legs. Just come to the people who are whispering, for instance, with one another. Come to the people. You still continue discussing your topic. You still continue providing information about facilitation, as me, for instance, as a trainer of facilitation. Or you're still providing people information about a billing and new billing process that you will have with your clients. You're still sticking to your topic. You speak, but you with your legs coming to the table or to the chairs where people are sitting. You're standing near these people, and for some reason, mystically, they can stop speaking. Maybe this habit is perceived from our school when the teacher is coming to us. We're just a bit afraid of her or him, and we start behave better. You can also use this. It was about ignoration. What else I would like to share with you is, well, when you need to get, again, huge number of people, 100 people, 80 people, 50 people, with principles and values of Scrum, or with new mission of your company, or with new rules of reporting on your project, of anything, on new roles and responsibilities on your project. It can happen that you are getting a new structure on your project, and everybody else needs to understand who is now proxy product owner, for instance. What is his or her role? Oh, you already using some roles and responsibilities on your project. I think you are. And you would like to get understanding how people think they are good, or their colleagues are good at this, how they're good in Scrum, for instance, in our case, in my case. So I'm asking them to evaluate, for instance, how they conduct their retrospective, how they follow Scrum values, which is important, how the responsibilities of Scrum Master is conducted. So I'm asking them to evaluate it. And for evaluation, you can use some visualization. You are just asking people some questions, and you're asking to evaluate whether this is done or not done from 1 to 5. Or from 1 to 3. In this radar, we have 1 to 5 gradation. For instance, if you think that Scrum Master responsibilities are conducted perfectly well, it is 5. People can ask you, what do you mean by Scrum Master responsibilities? Okay, you can say, if you think the Scrum Master is coaching your team, if you think the Scrum Master is facilitating your Scrum events, if Scrum Master is resolving impediments on your projects, then probably it's 5. Again, it's your personal understanding that you're discussing with your team members on one table, so you can see that here people are making their own radars. So each team or each individual is doing their own radar, and then you can ask people to sum up information. So in such a way, you can gather the information from different people, and then they can have the visual picture of it. After this, you can make World Cafe technique, by the way, to make people share their understanding with anybody else in the room. Or you can make people to combine their several radars into one radar. So you need to do some visualization, and not even you need to do it. You need the people do it and see their progress, for instance. You can ask them to draw their progress of the project. You can ask them to create the burn down, the current burn down of their progress on the project, and to share it between one another. Or you can then ask them to sum up like general burn down of the teams, how they are doing, if it's possible to do it in this way, to understand that general, to understand how people perceive the progress they are doing. So it's not your understanding as a management, as a technical lead, again, as Scrum Master, as anybody else, but the people's understand. Because in facilitation, we value a lot people knowledge, people understanding, people problems, like individual not what someone else thinking about this group outside this group. And this radar or any other visualization that you presented to the team, and also what is good, people like to draw, use different colors, it looks nice, so they became very engaged. Not everybody, but many people like to draw. And it's more interesting than making some slides. It's something that people after the training, after this retrospective, as it was for this team particular, can take together with them. And it's like take away from the training, take away from the event, take away from the meeting. They can bring it to someone else also to show them. Someone else can ask you, okay, what you did on this large retrospective. They can say, hey, we were estimated our processes. Here you are. Here you can see how we did it. It is our outtake. So again, make some visualization. Everybody will be involved and gather people information from people, not just push something into the people. Better to use, again, this pull system when you're pulling some knowledge from the people. What else can work when you're working with large groups of people? Once I was asked to make a workshop, to make, again, a knowledge sharing from myself to a group in our Sofia office. Luxoft have Sofia office in Sofia in Bulgaria. And people speaking the Bulgarian, they know English, and I know English as well, but again, probably they can miss some information. And as you see here, there is huge number of people, I don't know, like 60, maybe there were 80 people, some people were coming, some were going in. So I need help because due to language issue, I also need some help distributing materials of the training. I need some help distributing stationery or repeating some information about exercises. So I asked Bulgaria community, Agile community, I know several people from here, to find me co-facilitators. People either from this community or people somehow who knows these community members, who can ask them to come to my workshop. So it was a free event out of cost, so I was not also paying to this co-facilitated anything. And people came. You need to, if you're working with co-facilitators, it can be also quite challenging for you because you need to make sure these people are transmitting the correct information, the information to the group that you are transmitting. So their co-facilitators, in our case, responsibilities were to repeat, if necessary, on Bulgarian something that I was speaking about in English, also to make sure that teams have all the necessary stationery and to repeat their exercises, to provide more details about exercises, and maybe to provide some details about Scrum that maybe team has answers about. If they don't know the answers by themselves, then they can come to me. You can also make, for instance, if you're providing some even knowledge to within your location, so there is no language issue here, you can ask Scrum Masters that are already present in organization to make a meeting with you, and you all together work on facilitation plan, and in such a way you have each representative of yourself within a team. It can have different risks. This co-facilitation case can be risky for you because if you first time see these co-facilitators, it can mean that these people will get you wrong, your topic wrong, and provide wrong information to people. So co-facilitators is great idea, but you need to know how to work with them. So better to try on some safe cases, not in distant locations, not in new locations, but within maybe your organization, your program, working with your teams. Find these enthusiasts who can help you. And who will not ask you for something else for this help. I'm not meaning about money, but I'm meaning about like a bit more power and a bit more authority, because people, when they're helping you as a trainer, they become co-trainers and they have more authority in other people's eyes, and make sure that it's the right people who are providing the information from your part, from your side. So it also can help. How to start, how to continue, and how to finish the meeting. First of all, make some introduction that probably maybe it's clear to you, but if you're working with new group, it's necessary to do. For some people, it is very important to understand who is in front of them. Also provide the agenda. The topic of the meeting, why we are here, like what we're going to speak about, what our user stories list that we are going to discuss during our product backlog refinement session, during our grooming session. What is the idea of the planning? The idea of the planning is to make a discussion that is important of the product backlog items, but also to make our plan for the next sprint. Either estimated, not estimated, just let's make a plan for our next sprint during the planning. What is, again, the purpose, the timings, how much time do we have? Do we have 1 hour, 1 hour and a half? And also make time tracking during the event. I have, for instance, on my phone, I have watch in front of me, and I'm seeing that like 10 minutes left to the end of our webinar, and I'm tracking this time during the webinar. Sometimes I can skip a bit of information, sometimes I can go deeply into details, but I'm tracking time. And you, as Scrum Master, as a meeting leader, is anyone who is gathered people, needs to track the time. And from time to time, if you provide an exercise to the people, if you make them interactive, you should also ask the people to pay attention to the time. So you should have a clock in front of them and say, hey people, we have 10 minutes left, and we have 2 user stories, and we usually spend 10 minutes on 1 user story discussion. What we're going to do, maybe we need to prioritize out of 2, and we need to choose just 1 user story to talk about. It's not your decision as Scrum Master. It's actually a group decision. If you're a facilitator and you're Scrum Master and you're facilitating product backlog refinement for product owner and development team, just make them aware. Scrum Master is increasing the awareness of the team. It is not a person who is making decisions for these people. Here you can see also like visual agenda. So you can make a visual agenda when you do introduction, when you provide some topic, when you make some discussion, when you need to make some decisions, when you need to make some closing of information, maybe something else. So, and whenever the team is going through this visual agenda, you are just coloring it away, like you're putting some colors into it and saying that's done, that is done. So in such a way, people are also involved in the process. You need to keep everybody involved in the process, not just yourself, who is knowing everybody, everything and doing good at the meeting. So again, I'm talking about when you can act as a separate or as a partially involved facilitator, because someone needs to do all these preparations. So you're tracking timings. You're from time to time, if it is long meeting, you can check in about how people feel. So you can use like met, set, glad technique, like also this vacation, a prisoner, shopper, explorer technique. So from time to time, you're checking. You can ask just people, how do you feel, like gathering this feedback, but not the final feedback, but preliminary feedback. Because maybe you need to open the window. Some people really shy and afraid asking you to put ventilation into the room, more ventilation into the room. Some people need a break. So from time to time, provide a space like metaphorical space for the people to contribute. Ask them, do you have any questions, guys? Maybe. Or if you have some questions time at the end of the meeting, tell them, okay, at the end of the meeting, there is 10-minute space where we can ask questions. So feedback, ask people for the feedback. It can be at the end of the meeting. It's like final feedback, how the meeting went, what's the improvements for the next meeting. You can use starfish, what you would like to have less on these meetings, stop doing on the meeting, keep doing on the meeting, start doing on the next meeting, more of, what you would like to have more in our sprint. For instance, more mockups in our user stories, what you would like to have less in our sprint. Less part-time shared resources, what we would like stop doing, stop being late for our meetings actually. What will be the next steps? You can also tell people that, for instance, okay, we have discussed these improvements and we decided these improvements are not our area of responsibility and influence, and someone need to escalate it to our lead, to our management, and it will be Scrum Master or it will be someone else from our team. And when the person is going to do it on Tuesday, for instance, we have our retrospective on Monday, it can happen. And when the person will get results or will not have any results, he or she will provide us the feedback for instance, on Thursday or on Friday this week. So the next steps should be articulated. Also, if you're making not ordinary event, if it's not just some Scrum procedure that people are having week by week, but it's some new event like program retrospective or training, just make some photos like this one. So provide people some certificates if you have authority to do it, write down some meeting of the minutes, distribute it among people, and again create some follow-up. Like I will be preparing you the follow-up after this webinar. I will be providing there the presentation, I will be providing you the recording, maybe some links to next events if we have some, because due to my business trips it hardly be possible by August. So again, you need to close the meeting. So now some questions are coming. Let me see. People are telling that there is no sound. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? If you hear me, please write +1. If you think that +1, there is sound. Cool, because I was afraid I was speaking the last hour and one person wrote me there is no sound. It will be really huge problem. Okay, thank you. +1 are coming. So whenever you do a meeting, especially if it is first meeting that you are doing of this type, if it's huge town hall and you need to speak about organizational change within your company, make a facilitation plan, just very shortly, for yourself at least. Write down agenda, participants of the meeting, what questions they may have, so you also think about it a bit, how you're going to check in, whether they're still on the same page with you or not, because sometimes you're speaking about something, people are nodding to you, like they're understanding you, but when you start asking them questions, they can't answer you. So just make sure how you will check that they're understanding present in your group. Again, next steps are some funny photos, meeting of minutes, certificates, and follow-up, what will happen next. Okay, so questions from you, questions if you have some. We have 5 minutes for questions. Again, as I already told you, you will get the presentation and recording within a couple of days after the webinar. I hope I will be able to prepare it you tomorrow, because after it I will be on vacation. Don't want to do it during vacation time, but I will try to do it like today, maybe tomorrow, the recording and the presentation. Also, when you're filling the feedback forms after the webinar, please tell me what you would like me to improve, not just everything was bad, there was no sound, I can't hear you, just tell me a bit more information. I mean, about sound, it's clear, there is no sound, no information is coming to you, but if you would like to get some improvements, really, if you get something becomes better from my side, just write details. I'm reading it truly. Also, provide me information what was when, so I continue to do it, because sometimes people are telling me that, for instance, there is not a lot of information on the slides, and some people are telling that there is too much information on the slides, and it's like 2 different groups of people. So I'm trying to get somewhere in the middle about the information on the slides. Yeah, some people are wishing me happy vacation. Thank you. So that's all. You can, if you have questions, please continue writing it to me. Additional information, there is Facebook page of Luxoft Agile Practice, there is YouTube channel, there is also YouTube from me personally also. I'm putting there some webinars, conference, talks on Agile, Scrum, facilitation and coaching. Let's stay in touch. You can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on LinkedIn, you can ask questions. Usually I'm answering questions about if it's quite short. Thank you all for coming today. Have you a good day, have you a good weekend that is also coming. Tomorrow is Friday, so very soon the weekend is coming and my vacation, and I'm very happy about it. Also, some people asking how to attend trainings of Agile and other stuff. Go to this Luxoft Agile practice page, to events, like the page, to get the information from Luxoft Agile practice, because I'm putting the events like webinars, trainings, We have lots of free out-of-charge events in Kiev, in like Agile Talks. So go to this event page when there will be new events. We probably will have new Agile Talk event on July 25. So in a month, when I'm back from my vacation, we'll have new events. So follow Luxoft Agile Practice, follow the events page. New information is coming to it. Thank you too. Thank you. Some people are saying that thank you for helpful information. It was a pleasure for me, and it will be. I'm also very pleased, very gratified to you when you're sending me the cases, how the information I'm providing to you help you when you tried it on practice. So if some case works for you well or not well, again, share it with me. I'm always reading these cases. I'm very interested in these. Thank you too. So we're finishing our webinar, just 1 minute left. I'm tracking time boxing. Thank you and have a good day. Goodbye. Thanks.